just a bloke in a bar.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Pack Her Up, boys. Forced Matty to come in here. He was kicking and screaming. He wants to get down south. Or where you going, Matty, mate?
I'm going up the coast, actually. Port Macquarie.
So he was doing all these little subtle things of like, oh, you still want to do Friday's episode? And like doing pretending that he wants to be there, but really he's like, please fucking say no. Please say no. Sorry, mate. The people need it. The people need it. No, all jokes aside. Yes, we are here. I tell you what is good. There's no traffic getting in here.
It's the best I don't have traffic anyway. But it's actually nice to be able to park my car outside.
Yeah, park outside. It's really quiet. It's a great stuff. So, guys, the Monday show will be on Tuesday because obviously the footy is on the Monday, and on Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Make sure, guys, as I said, the demand has been huge. So make sure, please be there, and also just all I'd say to you, if you are sitting in the car right now or you're at the gym or whatever and you've consumed a bunch of bloke content, so if you have consumed a bunch of content, that'd be awesome if you could support us by grabbing a jersey. And just a really important note, you must be signed into your Bloke Club account to get the $99 discount. So at $5.55, get on there, sign into your account, and then at checkout, it'll just automatically give you the discount of $99. For everyone else that's not part of the Bloke Club, it's $110. That's why you should join the Bloke Club, because it is totally free. There are no strings attached. Right now, there's 30% off Musashi products, 40% off DMP, 20% off Grumpy coffee orders, 15% off certain bloke merch, and we're giving away a Mazda BT50. And plus, this month, we're giving away $2,000. So join up at bloke.club. So that's next Tuesday at 6 p.m. I'd really appreciate it if you enjoy the content. Grab a jersey. It will get to you before Magic Round, most likely, as it will get, if you live in Australia and New Zealand, most likely before Magic Round. International, maybe. But definitely Australia and New Zealand, it will get to you before Magic Round. They're already made. They're already sitting in the warehouse ready to go. So, yeah, we'd really appreciate it. If you want to support the platform, it would be massive, massive for us right now if you could grab a jersey. And don't forget, like and subscribe and comment on YouTube and Spotify. I'll try to make sure to go through and answer all of those. But, yeah, Matty, how you been, mate?
I'm very good, but jersey prices these days are crazy. Like $200, not ours are $99, but like I wanted to buy, I haven't got a South jersey for ages. I bought the John Sattler tribute one, obviously. Was that last year or the year before, which was a no-brainer for me, but they're getting up to like $200 now.
Yeah. And so the thing is this, and I'm just to be straight up, we could charge $200 and we would make more money. Like, yes, we may not sell as many numbers, but we would actually make way more profit if we charge $200. But I want to try to keep them at $99 so that more people can buy them. And it's just fair. Like, I would hate a bloke community member be like, I can't afford $200 right now, but I really love the jerseys and I love to support the platform. And so we keep them as literally as cheap as possible. And also, like, the material we make them of will last forever. Like, they're not the jerseys that you get now, they're all made of that. Me personally, I like the old school stuff. Yeah, cool. This is stuff that lasts forever. You still see Magic Rounds of old jerseys anyway. So, yeah, they're bloody good jerseys. I'd really appreciate it, guys. If you can, grab a jersey. It would mean the world to us. Alrighty, last night's game, the Dragons v Manly. Man, I'm stoked for Dragons. Like, yeah, was it a bit of a poo slinger at times, a bit of a tough watch at times. Especially Manly. Oh, my God. The amount of times, especially in the first half, where they were just throwing the ball to the ground, throwing it out, knocking it on. I was like, what is happening?
Couldn't believe what I was saying.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Look, I get where Seabold's coming from with the 11 days. I get it. I really do. Because, a lot of people ask, stop whinging. And I kind of do land in that boat to a degree. But what are you saying is factually correct. You shouldn't be playing 3 NRL games in 11 days.
Yeah.
However, there's a lot of clubs that probably go through it. So I didn't think it was the right time to be bringing it up, because people look at it and go, mate, if you had a 1, you probably wouldn't have said anything. And so I just didn't like that part of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's clearly an excuse.
And what's funny is, you could say that is a fair excuse.
It absolutely is a fair excuse.
But at the same time, it's like,
say it before the game.
Other clubs are probably dealing with it as well.
It just, we joke about the salty period, the 24 hours. It seems like a bit of that. Like, he's probably... Yeah, he could have made that point before the game.
And also, they've been poor this whole 3 weeks.
Yeah. Who are they?
Was it Storm?
Oh,
Sharks?
Storm, yeah.
So they went Storm, Sharks, and
Dragons.
And the Raiders, they beat because don't get me wrong, they beat because they built a lot of pressure, but they got really fortunate with a lot of calls.
Yeah.
And so if they played really good footy last week, against the Storm and even the Sharkies, I'd be able to go, yeah, fair call. But they haven't played good footy the last 3 weeks, so it's like,
yeah, they've been really, really.
It's
poor.
hard to say that's the excuse when you've been poor for 3 weeks.
I think the excuse, and like I'm not, saying anything new here, is that when Tommy's out, everything just changes for him. Like, it's crazy.
Which is weird because Lehigh still runs for like 200 plus metres.
Well, I thought Lehigh was their best player yesterday.
Yeah, I just think it's their forward pack, if I'm being honest. I think, that's a bit unfair on last night. It's just typical Manly. When they're on, they are unstoppable. When they're off, they're terrible. And the spreading of the ball side to side, last night they were off and you could see. Whereas the Dragons, man, I'm so happy for the Dragons. Same. Like, I really, really want them to go well this year. And, I know, like, I was super critical of them. I wasn't super critical, comparing myself to, like, the people that actually rip the shit out of the players. But, at the start of the year, it was because, like, I thought, there's your games to win. And they were right there to be won. And they couldn't get it done. And I hate to say almost typical Dragons fashions, but, like, the games that they shouldn't win, they friggin' win. So they hold Storm and they beat
Melbourne.
They friggin' beat Melbourne. Then they go.
They lost an unlosable game to South.
Unlosable game to South. They beat Melbourne. Then they come out and lose. They lose after the Storm game, or they won against the Eels.
Oh no! They lost to Para.
They lost to Para. Para. So they lost to. So they lose. They beat the Storm.
Okay, so they lost to the Dogs, lost to South, had a bye. So. Terrible start. Then they beat Melbourne, so everyone's like mad.
Yeah.
Then they lost to Para, and then they had a great performance last week against Gold Coast, and then last night.
Yeah. And so Gold Coast, they should win that one. But Manly at home, like, you wouldn't have the Dragons. So they weren't favourites. They weren't favourites at all. And they go out and play like that. And I'm just happy for them. And I love what Shane Flanagan's building there. Like, mate, some of those forwards, I've said it before, but Couchman for me, he is. When he came in and Roo kept wrapping him up, because obviously Roo's seen them before they got into first grade. When I saw him, for first few weeks in first grade, well, I know it's been a year or whatever, but just watching him in first grade over the last year or so when they've had their opportunity, I've been like, yeah, they're good young fellas. But I'm not like, I don't know why Roo is like saying, keep a watch. I get it now, mate. Couchman's been outstanding. Something like 55 tackles, 54 tackles, only one miss, 140 run meters.
He made that break as well.
Mate, he has been so good. Just strong and aggressive and just good in defense as well. So I'm a big fan. Like, any young fella that can come out and make that many tackles and only miss one, like, mate, you're doing something right. And
he's a Dragons junior, isn't he?
Yep.
It's nice to see. Because they've lost a lot of people, a lot of juniors coming throughout the years. So it's nice to see a couple of them. I think Egan's another one. He's another Dragons junior. He was all right yesterday, but he killed it against the Titans. Yeah. So it's good to see. 14 runs, 149 metres, 54 post contact, a tackle break, a line break, 2 offloads, 56 tackles, 1 miss, Jesus. No errors. Wow.
Like, mate, that's what's so exciting, and no one's talking about it. But Dragons have unearthed a bloke, Toby Couchman, that just played 66 minutes and ran for 150 metres and had 56 tackles, only 1 miss, with 2 offloads. Like, no one's talking about it. If that was at one of the glamour clubs, the big glamour clubs, and don't get me wrong, I know the Dragons are still a big club.
They're massive, but
they're not right now considered. Yeah. Mate, we'd be talking about this kid like he's the next big thing.
Yeah.
And because he's down at the Dragons, just slaving away, getting through his work, he's 21 years old. Mate, he is...
if he was at like the Doggies or something.
Yeah, we're talking him up. Yeah, if he was part of this Doggy side, but it's because the Dragons haven't been going so well. And so Toby Couchman, for me, he is one to watch. And as I said, I know Roo tipped him on earlier, but now having just watched him really closely and the work he's getting through, mate, if I'm Dragons, I'm sitting there going, we might be a few years away from being a top 8 side, like a... they may make the top 8 this year, but we may head into a season where most people are saying we're a top 8 side, lock us in. Because you got Couchman, you got Egan, and we haven't even spoken about Couchman's brother.
Yep, Ryan, yep.
And I think that, Flanagan's ability to coach, I always judge coaches, not always, but a lot of the time, a really good measure of how good a coach is what does he do with a player that has struggled to reach their potential under other coaches? Like, why do we always wrap Wayne up? Yeah, it's for the wins and all that kind of stuff. But really, the unique thing that Wayne does is there's this player that's bounced around a bunch of clubs that we can all see the potential, but no one seems to be able to connect with them and get the best out of them. And then they go to Wayne and all of a sudden they're world beaters, and you go, oh, man, Wayne's done it again. Wayne's done it again. Obviously, we can talk about Bellyache, how good he is at bringing people to clubs and doing that. But Shane Flanagan, obviously the Couchman brothers are coming through, and, you know, Toby Couchman's playing outstanding, and obviously Egan's been good. But look at Sloane.
I know.
Like, mate, Sloane a couple of years ago, it was, I reckon at least 14 of the 17 coaches would have said, mate, you need to go to Super League, find some confidence, maybe come back after that. But Flanagan not only kept him there, but gave him a 3-year deal, and a pretty good 3-year deal as well, reportedly at least. But in Flanagan's style, didn't give him a 3-year deal and then start him. Gave him a 3-year deal, then put him in reserve grade. Then he brings him into first grade, and he's been phenomenal. And so I look at this, I go, you look at Sloane, you look at Couchman, you look at Egan, you look at, Little is still relatively young. You got Hamish Stewart off the bench. You got Finau as well, the young winger. I know he didn't have, the best game, but what I'm saying here is there is a crop of young players under a coach that we know can get nearly anyone and draw the potential out of them. And so I'm excited for the Dragons.
Well, I think, like, going off, like, to add to that, he's also complemented those young players by bringing in 4 of the most experienced players in the NRL with Gutherson, Damien Cook, Valentine Holmes, and David Clemmer, all in pretty much different positions. I think he's absolutely nailed it, Shane Flanagan.
Going so well. And, Couchman played 66 minutes while Clemmer played 28, Leilua played 45, DeBellum played 49, Blake Laurie played 26. Like, this is how special this young fella is, that he's the big dog in the pack. Out of all those names that I just read out, he is the main man. That's special. That's exciting. A 21-year-old that's your big dog in your pack already. Yeah, imagine what he's going to be by 24.
Yeah, that doesn't happen often, doesn't it? Like, Payne Haas is the obvious anomaly, but everyone says that front rows, come into their own 24, 25. So to be leading the pack, starting in the front row and doing all that at age 21 years old, wow, it's exciting for Dragons fans.
Super exciting. In the key position, that's so hard to find someone that can do what he does. 66 minutes in the middle. I just still can't get 150 metres, but the 56 tackles and 1 miss, mate, that's put it this way, if Payne Haas rolled those numbers out, we'd be going, yep, good solid game.
Yeah, true.
Toby Couchman's just done that. No one's even talking about it.
Yeah.
Because he's at a club that's relatively quiet right now. I want to give Kyle Flanagan's defence a massive rap.
Yep.
32 tackles in the halves and only 1 miss. Like, against a team like Manly that we know how good they are when they spread the ball, I think he deserves a massive, massive rap for that. Obviously, had a try assist as well. I think his last couple of games, Kyle Flanagan, have been some of the best he's had in a few years now.
I thought that game against Gold Coast was his best game.
Yeah, he was outstanding. And so he just needs to keep building and building. One thing, I've had to be nitpicky. I think that he could help Lachie Galvin a little bit with his kicking game, because at the moment he had 1 kick. I reckon if they just shared that duty a little bit, it'll create an environment where people don't really know where to put the kick pressure on, but I'm being nitpicking right there.
He had 1 kick and it forced a dropout.
Yeah, so it's just I reckon he could probably just help the load a little bit there. However, who knows? Maybe Shane Flanagan wants that balance.
Yeah.
Val Holmes was good last night Val Holmes was good last night. So there is just so much to like. And yeah, as I said, the Tyrell Sloane, to see him playing like that, but the key that glues it all together, it's the Gutho effect.
Gutho, for sure.
It's the Gutho effect. And, for quite a couple of years now, I've been this huge fan of Gutho, and for some bizarre reason, I don't know why, he's a polarizing figure to fans. Maybe it's because he's really passionate and he gets in and he talks to refs a lot or something. And
I think that's definitely it.
Maybe that's it. I don't know, but mate, I've always admired what Gutho brings, and I think the beautiful thing about leaving the Eels is we're seeing that impact. Like the Dragons, all of a sudden, I haven't locked him into my 8, but they've gone from a team where I was like, oh, they might be bottom 4, to, mate, maybe they do make the 8. Maybe they do squeeze in the 8.
It's so funny. I used to be a Gutho hater, and I look back on that time and I think, why. And it actually all changed in one moment for me. I was at my house. This is in 2019 or 2020 around then. And I was watching the Eels and Gutho sprayed the ref or something. And I just started blowing up to my mates. I'm like, God, I hate Gutho. And my mate's like, why? He's all hard. Yeah. That's all he said to me. And it just clicked for me. I'm like, it's so true. And since that day, I've absolutely loved him. And man, must be so bittersweet for Para fans because their best player besides Lomax has probably been Iongi, or certainly is their most threatening player. But geez, you'd still love to have Gutho. But yeah, every time I looked up yesterday, Gutho was tearing from one side of the field to the other to be supporting or so. He's just everywhere.
Yep. And there's a reason, he's also part of the reason why these young players are playing so well.
Sure.
And that's why, you look at, like, Iongi has been good for the Eels. He's been really good. But you just wonder, like, did they need to move Gutho on so quickly? Like, surely Iongi could have been on the wing, or something like that. Maybe you go him on one wing and Lomax into the centres. I don't know. Maybe maybe it was the right thing for Iongi to come straight across. I just think that they still could have got a bit out of.
Well, I think they got rid of Gutho before. Oh no, before the Fox. I can't remember, but still, I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, Fox. Yeah, Fox was a late signing. Yeah, Fox was a late signing. So if they kept Gutho, they could have put a Iongi in the wing because I think a Iongi in the wing could have done fine. Yeah. I think he would have done fine. And then you put Gutho at fullback, and he could help mentor some of these young guys coming through. Because, like, obviously you got Mitchell Moses that can, but like I just think there's but Gutho has a special kind of leadership that could have helped Moses with all of that. Because I'm not a big believer in co-captains. Don't get me wrong; it clearly can work. Look at Penrith Panthers. However, you do need a senior playing group. You can't just have one senior player.
Yeah.
You need multiple, if not 3 or 4 senior players that can help. And you've got Junior Paulo, Moses currently. I mean, I guess you'd say Hopgood would be one now. However, like he still has he played 100 NRL games yet? I don't think so. And so they're a bit interesting. Anyway, their loss, Dragons gain. He's been absolutely phenomenal, and I'm excited for Couchman. For me, right now, Couchman, he was my player of the match. Yeah, he was my player of the match. Yeah. I think he was outstanding. Like him and Sloan, but I put him at 1. I just think in the middle there is a 21-year-old to go 66 minutes, 50 whatever tackles, only one miss, 2 offloads, 150 metres, a line break. Mate, that's a special performance. And the confidence his kid's going to get going forward, it's, mate, like we always talk about halves being hard to find, and they really are. Halves are super hard to find. But I tell you what else is hard to find, premier front rowers.
Yeah.
Like it really, yes, it is halves that separate the great teams from just the good teams. But you can also look to the front row. Like all the top tier teams have one front rower that is like top tier. Yeah. The only one bucking that trend, you could argue, is the Storm. But Stefano has the ability to be a top tier rower, front rower, and Josh King has been bloody good since he's moved to the front row.
Yeah.
And Nelson, obviously, we know what he can do.
Look at the difference with the Titans when Tino plays and Tino doesn't play. It's almost alarming.
It's crazy, especially when they actually do have top tier potential front rowers in their side. So
yeah, they got a good.
Yeah, Couchman for me. If I'm the Dragons, I think he might already. Can you check how long he's signed up for, mate? If he's not signed up, I'd be locking him in till like 28, 29. To be honest. You're probably going to get him a bargain. He seems like the kind of bloke that's not going to stuff around and have inconsistent years. It feels like he's a real player that you can really build a pack around.
1 sec. Oh yeah, he's signed up. Both of them are signed up till 27.
Yeah, sweet. I mean, yeah, obviously you don't have to re-sign him right now, but I'd be looking into mid 26 if he's still playing like this. Well, I actually tip him to play better than this. Because I don't think he's reached his potential yet as a 21-year-old, then, you sign him in long term.
Well, as you said earlier, imagine what he's going to be like in 27.
That's what I mean. As a 21-year-old, he's already the big dog in the pack. Yeah. Like far out, keep him. And you lock him in, and he's going to be outstanding in a few years. So, great win for the Dragons. Jaden Sewer also playing some bloody good footy.
He flies under the radar, doesn't he? I loved it. I was Devo when South lost him. He's a really good player.
He's a bloody good player, a big hitter too. I will say as well, like the beautiful thing, like Egan, he also 48 tackles, only 2 misses. So your 2 boom rookies of Toby Couchman and Egan, like we always talk about defence wins premierships. You got these 2 young fellas that have some of the best defence in the comp. Like if some of the better players in the comp came out with 48 tackles, only 2 misses or 1 miss, you'd be sitting there saying, "What a good knock!" You got these 2 youngsters doing it. So. Good on him. Very, very exciting. Shout out Damien Cookie, 41 tackles, 0 misses.
He had a good game.
Yeah, bloody good win. bloody good win.
I'm keen for Anzac Day next week because obviously the Roosters aren't going how they'd like to go, but Anzac Day is a huge game and it's going to be the biggest probably game of the year, probably biggest game of some of these young players' careers in the Dragons pack. So yeah, it's going to be exciting.
Across the other side, Lachie Galvin, 272 metres, 7 tackle breaks, one line break assist. I know, like, there are some people, you know, they need Tommy back, and rightly so, but I actually, he's doing a pretty bloody good job back there.
He had a good game.
Like, he had a bloody good game. I actually think even with Tommy in this side, they would have won because we know Tommy's worth at least, 6 to 12 points.
Yeah.
But I actually don't think it's just the absence of Tommy. I think across the board, they're just having way too many errors.
Well, one of their best players this year has been Olakau'atu, and he had probably the worst game of his career, to be honest. So,
yeah, it was a tough night for him. He kept trying though, which I think that's the difference between like this version of Olakau'atu and an older version of Olakau'atu. Is like, I think back in the day he probably would have gone a bit quiet and said, "Oh, I've made some errors here." Whereas I love the fact that it wasn't his day, it didn't work out for him, but he kept ripping, he kept turning up.
Absolutely. Look, if Origin was picked tomorrow, I'd still be picking him in the team.
Yeah,
no doubt.
So look, I am a little bit worried for the Manly Seagulls though. Like, it just has not been convincing.
I wonder how much this whole DCE thing.
I don't think it is. Like, I don't think the players are off him. I think the players are like a sweet. Like, now maybe is DCE struggling with it? Is he a bit pissed off with how this has all been handled, and that's why he played poorly last night? I'm not sure. The problem is, and I've spoken about this already, but like, whether it is or it isn't true that the DCE situation is a problem, the fact that it's a headline that can be talked about makes it a problem.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? So like, even if the playing group's like, bro, we don't care. We totally back DCE where he's going. We'll play for him no matter what. The fact that you have to deal with the questions of the headlines becomes a problem because it's like, I don't want to talk about this. Guys, we keep telling you it's not a problem. So we'll see. DCE
is probably stoked when the Lachie Galvin news hit everyone's desk on Monday.
Oh, mate.
Finally, everyone can stop talking about Cherry Evans.
Yeah.
Because that was, like, to me, honestly, I remember, I think I said to Eddie, I was like, this could be the DCE thing. This could be the biggest NRL story in years, just how it's gone down. And then a few weeks later, we're not getting back into Lachie, but a few weeks later, Lachie Galvin happens. Crazy.
Yeah, look, in regards to Lachie Galvin, I think we've said definitely all we've wanted to say about it. Like, I think succinctly, to wrap it all up, contract-wise, he's done absolutely nothing wrong. Could have he handled it better? Absolutely. Is he a 19-year-old that, we all make mistakes? You can sit there and say, mate, you should have handled that a little bit better, whilst also being, mate, I want the best for Lachie. I want him to bounce back. I understand West Tigers' frustration. I really do. But I just hope that they see that this is just a young fella that's getting advice from certain people. That doesn't mean he's not accountable. I've got faith that this West Tigers current playing group can move on from this. I really do. So, and like the thing, I think one thing that I've just been a bit like with Lachie, what 19-year-old hasn't been frustrated with their boss or whatever? Like, there's nothing wrong with him thinking and feeling those things of like, I feel like I can improve better at this club. So like, if he was, let's say he came out and said, hey guys, the Melbourne Storm have offered me a contract and I feel like I could get better development at that club. I think we'd all go, you will. Yeah. So that proves that thought, there's nothing wrong with that thought, because I think a lot would agree with that. I think it's just the concern was making it public. Yep. It was, and you might say, the statement that he put out, he didn't write it or whatever, but he also didn't deny it, So I think that's just where the issue was. Now, as I said, it's done, it's dusted. We won't be talking about it much at all. At the end of the day, could have handled it better, but I hope he bounces back. And I think he's going to have a bloody good career. I think he's going to learn a lot from this. I think he's going to bounce back. And I can't wait for him to bounce back.
It's just going to be best for everyone if this gets sorted one way or another. I don't know how it's going to get sorted, but it's going to be cruel for rugby league fans if we don't see Lachie Galvin playing NRL for the next year, I guess.
Well, I don't think the Tigers should put him back to reserve grade and never play him in first grade again. But I do think the Tigers should say, go back to reserve grade, mate. Show the boys that you want to play here, that you do like the playing group, and that's. And I actually think that's already happened. I don't know for sure. I don't know. I've got no evidence for it. But I actually think Lachie Galvin's probably already had a chat with Luai and all the boys and said, you know what, boys, maybe I stuffed up a bit here. And I reckon the boys have gone, mate, it's all good. Like, what I do know, I know the boys have no issue with him wanting a big contract. I know that for a fact. Well, at least the people I've spoken to at the Tigers, they got no issue. They said, mate, make the money. Make your money. Like, they're players too. You think they're not going to look for big contracts as well? It was just the other stuff. So I personally think that conversation's already happened. And so me personally, I think the perfect scenario would be the boys and him, they clear the air, he goes back, he'll rip in reserve grade. He will rip. And then they bring him back into first grade, and I hope he plays this year and next year at the Tigers.
There'll be cameras at Leakham Oval on
there
Monday.
will be, but mate, if you know, and look, let me be really clear. I'm not excusing any of the crazy vitriol from idiots and psychos on the net. That is not on. It never will be on. However, in regards to the talk around him, if you want a big $6 million, $7 million deal or whatever, unfortunately, that's what comes with it. The talk, not the crazy stuff, but the critique and the talk that comes with it. But I think in a perfect world, he fights his way back into the Tigers first grade. He finishes the year. He plays on next year. He signs a mammoth deal with whoever he wants to go to, and then he goes on to play as good as footy as he possibly can. That would be my perfect world. I don't want to see him released early. I know that he's probably going to be. I know that's probably the hope maybe from his management, but I hope he doesn't. Because I would hate for, if it was the intent from his management, not him, his management, to blow this up so they could leave early to get the big pay check next year, I hope they don't grant it. I really don't.
I want the Tigers to play top 8 footy this year, and they need Galvin. I want that to happen this year. I don't think he'll play there next year, but
see, I think he should. I want him to play his contract out. I really do.
I'd be more than happy for that. I just, if I had to take a guess from what's happened,
of course, I think we all agree that. But I'm just saying, I think I want him to. I think it'd be the right thing by everyone if he does see this contract out, because I would hate to think, you know, have we ever seen? We've seen it before where, like, you know, contracts have been blown up, so someone, you know, agitates for release and they finally get it. But this early into a contract, I don't think we've seen like this
way
early.
Too early. Yeah.
And I just think that when you can clearly see a club has done everything right by Galvin, and don't get me wrong, the clubs aren't innocent. As soon as you start playing bad, they fucking get rid of you in a second. So I'm not defending that, but I would hate to think that if this sets a precedent going forward. Think about how many other managers will just go, boom. All right, we've got the playbook now. Go straight in, say, don't even bother offering me anything, and then just watch everything fucking completely unfurled. I'll get my player out to get the bigger contract.
Yeah.
Me personally, I hope he, as I said, fights his way back in. The boys respect him. And also, I think if he does stay and play on with the Tigers and plays well, I actually think a lot of Tigers fans will eventually forgive him and understand, okay, yep, he's just a young man that wants to get a deal somewhere else. That's totally fine. So I hope so. I really do.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm naive, but I hope so.
No, I hope so as well. Again, as I said, I want to see the Tigers playing finals footy this year. I think a lot of people do. They've been so bad for 3 years now. Well, they haven't played finals I think they're the longest streak with 2011. Like, and just one more thing, I think, putting everything aside that his teammates could be off him, maybe they are, maybe they're not, blah, 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 dropping him this week, all that aside, I think it's a really smart idea to not play him this week. It's such a huge game. He'd probably be booed out of the stadium, to be completely honest.
Fuck.
Like,
you couldn't play him. You couldn't play him.
So I think good call from
And also
bench.
with everything that was said as a playing group, you know, if you say that stuff publicly, like you can't, you know. So anyway, it is what it is. That's the end of Lachie Galvin for us. Now, proudly brought to you by our friends over at Sportsbet. Give us a follow on the feed. I've been going all right on the feed. So give us a follow, and you can copy our bets. It takes you 2 seconds. Bit of fun too. You can see what I'm putting every single week. See how I'm going, the good weeks, the bad weeks. And as always, a massive, massive thank you to Sportsbet. Mate, algo check. What's your algorithm looking like, mate?
Oh, I'm not ashamed to say. I think I might have said this last week, but I'm going to say it again. I have just been pumping WWE. Absolutely pumping it. When I have, like, I don't have a show anymore at the moment. I literally just, if I'm bored or got nothing to do, I'll just chuck a pay-per-view on from 2004 and watch it. And it's just been dominating my algorithm.
What's the latest storyline in WWE?
No. So none of this new stuff. I like to go back and watch stuff I used to watch when I was a kid. Like,
is that all on Netflix now?
Or every single episode is on Netflix. It's just, it's amazing.
How is it set out? Because it would be fucking going back 30 years.
Yeah, so what I do is I don't like just go back and watch a random episode of SmackDown. I'll like pick a pay-per-view that I watched when I was a kid that I remember, like Great American Bash or Vengeance.
But how is it set out though?
That's what so literally you just type in, it's the pay-per-view. So let's say WrestleMania is its own show, and then its seasons are just 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008.
But you have to go into wrestling first though, don't you?
Nah, so it's not in one big thing. It's literally just all over the place. So
you can't go into wrestling and then start searching stuff?
Oh, you might be able to, but that's just not how I do it. I think of a pay-per-view that I remember, and then it's exactly like its own TV show. So yeah, I watched while I was waiting for the footy to start yesterday, I was watching like The Undertaker from 2004. Man, just bringing back some good memories. But yeah, it's all available on Netflix, which is crazy. Like it used to be able to, it was like UFC. You had to pay to watch it, which is just crazy. It's entertainment, for God's sake. But yeah.
Well, you think it's crazy? Pay-per-view is crazy, do you?
No, not UFC, but WWE.
Yeah, so I put in wrestling, and it says just W Collection. So I wonder whether that's...
I think, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so it is W Collection. That's where it's all listed correctly. So like if you type in wrestling, and then it comes in and it says SmackDown starting whenever, but then it's like previous live and upcoming, best of Raw, best of SmackDown, best of Next, best of WrestleMania, Road to WrestleMania. Yeah.
And why it's on my algorithm is because I think the WWE do such a good job in like top 10s and certain stuff like that, like top 10 Royal Rumble comebacks or top 10 crowd pops and stuff. Like they just have countless videos on YouTube. Oh, by the way, I think you said this years ago and I finally done it. Buying YouTube Premium was the smartest decision of my life.
Bro, I can't believe people don't do it.
Oh, it's the best. Well, to be fair, when you said it, I was like, who cares? There's a few ads. Who cares? But now that I've got it, oh my God, it's the best.
It's so friggin' good.
Yeah.
Like I could never go back. What is it, like $10?
Nah, it's like 20 something a month.
Oh, okay. Well, whatever. Like $20 a month.
Yeah.
Like that's what, $5 a week. Like seriously, a night out these days costs $200. Like you go to the pub. Let's say you go to the pub. You have a feed, and I'll just say 6 beers. That's that'd be what, $110?
Yeah, I went to the Glenroy the other day because they have a Jag the Joker, so you could win a couple of grand. I just went to get a dinner and a couple of beers because that's where you get the tickets, and it cost me like $70.
That's what I mean.
On a Wednesday, and I was like, come on.
That's why I never understand when people are like, oh, a $5 subscription or a $20 monthly one or whatever. I'm always like, bro, a night out, you're smashing that out. And what would you rather, like never having an ad on YouTube again or less than one night out? Like if someone said to you, let's say you went out once a week every week, and someone said to you, okay, just don't go out one of those nights and you've paid for like
a year of YouTube.
Like,
yeah, it's a no-brainer.
It's like not even close. It's not even close to the amount of entertainment you get. That's I never like even little things like paying, randomly paying $75 or $80 for a video game or whatever. That video game is going to give you like 100 hours of entertainment.
Yeah.
Compared to, as I said, you go out and you're down $100 in a blink of a friggin' eye these days.
It's a joke. I reckon financial hangovers are worse than real hangovers these days. I wake up from a night out, I'm like, oh my God, I don't even want to check my bank account. It's the worst.
And that's me being concerned. Like if you have a feed and 6 beers, that's not even really a night out. That's like...
That's a weekday.
That's just like hanging with your mates or whatever. A night out.
Yeah, nah.
From like, let's say you went out at like 8:30 at night till 12. Mate, you're getting up to $200. Easy.
Well, I have a big night, rarely, but like it happens. And sometimes you're in a nightclub and if you've got 5 mates, you go buy a round. That's $110 right there.
No, that's what I mean. You're not just having one drink.
Yeah.
Like if you got 3 mates or 4 mates, you're going to have... Let's say you have 4 drinks. You're looking at, honestly, you're looking at like $300.
Yeah, and because you're with your mates, you're not slowing down.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
So
YouTube Premium is worth it.
Mate, that's why it's like when people go, oh, this subscription costs us $10 or whatever. I'm like, bro, the value you get is a joke. It's a joke.
I'll tell you what's another good thing about YouTube Premium, which I didn't appreciate until I've got it. Being able to lock your phone and the video still plays.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. Mate, I'm a big YouTube consumer. I couldn't do it any other way now. I've been on premium for like 5 years. As soon as it came out, I was like, yeah, sweet. Because as I said, like I think the value is way worth it. Like when I used to listen to a lot of podcasts, I would always sign up to their Patreon. Because like, let's say they said, my favorite podcast, if they said $10 a week, absolutely. If a podcast is giving me, and look, I know I'm biased, guys. I've got a podcast. I know it. And there's most people sitting there saying, Kempy, we get it for free, so whatever. But for me, if a podcast is making me happy every day, paying them $10 a month, a week, which is that's actually really high. Usually it's way lower.
Yeah.
$10. So what's that? That's like $2 a day. We'll just say that. We'll say it's like $1.50 a day or something. Maybe it's less. $1.25. Mate, I'm doing that any day of the week. But if you would, let's say for example tomorrow, Bloke said we're going to go behind a paywall and everyone has to pay $10 a week, mate. People would fucking. But we would, if we did that, we would say there's no ads and you don't have to buy anything else.
Yeah.
There were some people that would love it. Some people would love it, but there's a lot of people that go, "There's absolute $10. That's crazy."
Yeah, and I'm a tight ass in general, and most of the time, the thought of Patreon, I never think to do it. But there are some cases where I have, and I'm just like, this is the best. Like the Great Cricketer is the perfect example. Yeah, because like the Great Cricketer improved my summer this year by so much, and it's like it's not $10 a week. I think it's like $5 a month or something. Like it's something.
That's what I mean. I'm using a really high number.
Yeah, it's so cheap.
Even that is cheap as anything. But like, yeah, you look at like the Great Cricketer. Like, think about how much an hour or 2 hours laughter would cost you at a pub or something like that.
Yeah, and the good thing about the Great Cricketer is, and like any podcast, I'm sure people listening, they do it now. I got a group chat where we literally just talk about things that they say on the Great Cricketer, and now they call it the circus. Like it provides me so much entertainment.
That's what I mean. So, I never understand I obviously understand when money's tight, but I always just compare it to like, listen, if you've got enough money to have one big night a month, just trade that for your subscriptions. You're going to get way more enjoyment out of it. That's why I've always been a big fan of video games, because you can pay $50, $60 back in the day, you know, when I was playing footy and I had no money, and I'd be entertained for hours and hours and hours and hours. And I didn't go out and spend all the money because I had no money to friggin' spend. I think you bang for buck, like nights outs are probably the worst bang for buck ever.
Disgraceful, really.
Because it's just so expensive. But on the flip side, I understand why pubs and that have to charge so much, because, you know, a $10 beer, $5 of that goes straight to the government. Because it's beer excise. So yeah, it's crazy.
It's so annoying. Like going to the pub with the boys is literally my favorite activity. I love it so much, but it's so hard now. Like you just can't go there, and like we just go to people's houses now.
That's what I'm saying. So like, it has really affected, you know, all this online content, all this content that we get, you know, digitally. It has really affected the hospitality and entertainment industry physically, because when you make that trade off and you say, okay, I can spend $20 a month. Let's just, you know what, I'll say $100 a month on all my digital subscriptions. Or I can go out one night a month, and let's say you went out one night a month and your budget was $100. Mate, you'd be fucking back home by 9 p.m.
$100 gets you nowhere these days. Come on.
Whereas like $100 worth of subscriptions, you've got Netflix locked in, you've got your KO, you've got your YouTube Premium, you've got, mate, you name it. You got it. Apple. I mean, does Apple even have a subscription? I don't think it does. I think you just buy the movies. But yeah, anyway, in regards to my algo, I'll just have a check real quick. Mate, let me see what's come up. Just a bit of the Wheel of Time stuff. A lot of Volkanovski, break down how he beat Lopez, which was great.
Oh, that was mad.
So friggin' good. Love that. That's another thing. As soon as our UFC card ends, I immediately open Luke Thomas and watch his post-fight breakdowns. So friggin' good. So friggin' good. Because like because I understand the feeling of when your team's had a big win, you want nothing more than to consume content around. You just want to relive that experience. And I'm the same. When Volkanovski has a big win, I'm just like, mate, give me as much content around Volk and how he did it.
I'm the same, win or lose, to be honest. I actually don't know what I prefer. Like, win, you want to lap up a win, but if it's like a random round 6 game and something bad, like something really bad is happening on field, I'm more hate watching, to be honest.
Yeah.
If my team loses, I'm trying to listen to absolutely everything, especially when I want validation. Like, for example, the Jack White and hip drop last week drove me insane. So many people disagreed with me. But
I can't believe people disagree.
I know.
And what frustrates me is like when people go, I saw this one comment, it's like, you guys, Matty, you're so biased. It was a hip drop. You click into it. It's a Cowboys fan.
I know, yeah.
And you're just like, bro.
Come on, mate.
Mate, you're just sitting there going, how can you be so unself-aware? You're calling someone else biased whilst being a Cowboys fan. Like, all you're doing is projecting on maybe. And also, like...
You won, man. Come on.
But also as well, it's such a 50... It's not even a 50-50 call in my mind. It's more like a 70-30. If it's a 70-30 call, you don't need bias to explain why you might think that it wasn't a hip drop. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I personally think, and don't go crazy, guys... But I personally think, like, I always go back to that Suoli'i head high on Reece Walsh.
Yeah.
The fact that there were people saying that wasn't a sent off,
Yeah.
to me showed, like, that's when I start saying, mate, I get it. You're from New South Wales, like, or it might not even be your bias to New South Wales. It might be your bias to you want Origin to be an even contest, and you've been hyped up all week, and then it just killed the game.
Look, I've taken a lot of steps away from that, and I've happily admitted 100 times that in hindsight, 100% it's a send up. I see replays of it now, and I remember I sometimes go back to those podcasts and think, oh God, you gotta be smarter.
I did
than
say
that.
to you, and I didn't want to be condescending. Like, I hate to be a condescending fuckwit, but I did say to you, mate, like, I promise you, you're gonna move away from this and think back and go, fuck.
I was being biased, but like, I genuinely thought I was right at the time. Like,
we're all guilty of it. You're not the only one, bro. We all fucking do it.
I wasn't just saying it because I was pissed off.
Yeah.
And there is part of me which does still think that, like, that was the first of its kind. Like, it never had happened before.
Yep.
So that's why it was quite shocking. But yeah, no, that was fucked up.
Mate, watching the replays, like, even me getting away from it, every time I watch that replay, I just go,
oh, it was bad.
Oh my God. Yeah. You know what? And don't go crazy in the comments, guys. But I would be interested if there is someone listening, if you still truly believe it shouldn't have been a send-off. Now, maybe it's if your argument is because it ruined the spectacle and Origin is so important, then fair enough. Like, I even though I disagree with that argument, I still think it's a reasonable...
Well, that was my argument. Yeah.
That is a reasonable thing to argue. But if you just say, no, I don't think it was because Reece Walsh slipped or something like that, that's when I'm just like, I don't know if I agree with that. But yeah, we're all guilty of it. The thing that frustrates me is when people pretend they don't have any bias. Yeah. Like they make it. The thing with bias is, like, there is a level of where you could say, I'm trying not to be biased to a point, and you're trying to look at every angles. But at some stage, all of us have some kind of bias. Now, it doesn't automatically mean anytime I'm talking about the Broncos or anytime I'm talking about Queensland, I'm automatically biased. But, like, for example, I think a really good one where I have fell in the trap of my bias is looking at Broncos young guns and thinking they're maybe a little bit better than I probably should think they are because they're Broncos young guns, so I concentrate on them more. I mean, like, for example, I'm sure you probably think your Rabbitohs young guns are probably more exciting than maybe other young guns because you look at them more.
I look at David Wiley and I just see all this untapped potential.
Yeah.
More so than many other people, for example.
Yeah, and so, like, that's where I feel like my biggest, and, like, I'm sure there's someone listening right now who's like, Kemp, you're way biased in all these other areas. Just relax, bro. Like, chill out. I know you're rushing to the comments section. But I think one is where is with the youth of the Broncos. And also, I think that there's always going to be biased with the Broncos to a degree. Not so much that it makes my arguments irrelevant. Like, you can still be biased, put an argument forward that can be correct, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Argue the argument. I always get frustrated when people go, you're just biased, so it doesn't matter what you say. It's like, no. Don't whether I am or I'm not biased. What is my argument saying? deconstruct that. Like, don't worry about. And so I always feel like it's a cop out when people go, "Oh, you're biased, so it's wrong." It's like, no, being biased doesn't make you wrong. The argument being incorrect makes you wrong.
Yeah.
And so attack my argument. Like, so for example, if I said Broncos are a top 4 side, and you might go, I might say, well, I'm saying Broncos are a top 4 side because I love the Broncos. But also it's a fair assessment because of their roster or whatever. Now, you might say, Denon, you're biased towards the Broncos, but that doesn't attack the argument. What would attack the argument would be, Denon, have a look at how inconsistent they are. Look at their completion. Look who they've lost to. Their halves are older. Reece Walsh has the most errors in the competition. Selwyn Cobbo has too many errors. Your halves are injury prone, or whatever. That's disproving the argument, not just saying that I'm biased.
Well, I think just calling someone biased because it's their team, it's just lazy. Dismissive.
It's just lazy.
Yeah,
it's lazy. I try as hard as I can not to say anything like that. The only time I'll say someone like you're biased you're biased is usually when I've been in a discussion with someone and they just refuse to listen to what you're saying. And I go, mate, I get it. It's your team. Sweet. But very rarely off the bat will I just go, you're biased, dismissive. Because it is dismissive.
It's so dismissive.
And also everyone has a bias to a degree. It's the argument that you need to look at. And yeah. Alrighty, guys. Menu log. Don't forget, use code VOLK for free delivery this week. Minimum spend is $30. Use code VOLK, VOLK. Minimum spend $30. You get free delivery. So you get a big feed to your house. It'd be like rocking up and getting it yourself, but you don't have to. It's totally free. A dude drives it to your house completely free when you use code VOLK.
Some guy came up to me a few weeks. I can't remember where. I think it might have been at that charity game, and he told me that he uses the code every single week.
Mate, thousands of people do. Thousands of people do.
See the numbers, yeah.
Yeah. Mate, and we appreciate it. And that's what I always try to do with partners is like for example, the Code partner, Code Sports. When I was speaking to them, I was like, yes, obviously very, really cool if you come on board and we have this really cool segment, but I always want people to give back to our community, give us something, which I think is fair. Like, if you're going to get put in front of such a large audience, don't take advantage of them. Give them something. Yeah. And so, use code BLOKE at codesports.com.au/bloke, and you'll get a discount there as well. Alrighty, guys. Jamal Fogarty. The Raiders have reportedly offered Fogarty a 2-year extension worth $500K a season. Is it 500?
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, so let's say, it's hard to say because $700K. Let's say Manly offering him $700K a season, which I don't know whether they have. But initially I think it was reported they offered him $500K. Then I heard around $600.
Yeah, I've heard him floating between 5 and 6. Manly, that is.
Obviously, Fogarty can do whatever he wants, but me personally, if the Manly Seagulls have only offered $600K 2 year and Raiders have offered him $500K 2 year, I think you take the Raiders deal.
Staying at Canberra for sure.
Stay at Canberra for sure. I wouldn't say they took a chance on Fogarty, but at the same time, the Titans didn't treat him well. They re-signed him and then essentially brushed him. And he's gone down the Raiders. He's found a home. He plays really good footy there. And who knows? Maybe they do build into a top 6 side in the next 12 months. Maybe.
I think they could.
Well, last year they would have been top 8 if he played the whole year.
Yeah. You could argue they have the best forward pack in the comp. Now, to me, they're not, but they're right up there.
Yeah.
I reckon stay at Manly. I'm very confused, though. I keep saying that. Stay at Canberra. I'm very confused, though, about Sanders and where this leaves him because it's a bit of a confusing situation. I thought his cards were marked, to be honest, Fogarty.
Yeah, I did too, because I thought they were just going to do dramatic, whatever to keep Sanders. I look at it and I go, there's a strange move to a centre. Who are the centres at the moment? Chris
and Timoko, so very good centres. They love Chris, and Timoko's an international.
Wingers are Savage and the young fella that's come across.
Yeah, Tamale, I think he's playing well. Obviously, K Weeks is fullback.
Do you try Strange at fullback?
Maybe. I don't know.
So that's or is it going to be, are they going to move Fogarty to 14 in 27 maybe, 2027?
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe.
I just don't know how you keep Sanders playing resis for 2 more years.
I wonder if they've because I don't know how he's going in resis. Like maybe he's not killing it. I don't know.
Yeah, but in saying that, you'd have to assume, and I don't know for sure, but you have to assume that he was promised some kind of first grade.
Yeah.
Soon, why would you leave Why would you leave Sydney to go down to Canberra to play resis?
Well, he would have played every game of this NRL season so far because Moses is out.
And also, he would have played a lot of games last year as well. The only reason why he wasn't getting picked because he signed with the Raiders.
Yeah, exactly right. Moses has played, people forget this, Moses has played more rep games in the last 12 months than Eels games. In fact, I think he's only played two games for the Eels in the last 12 months or something like that. Something crazy. So
yeah, interesting.
Very weird. I'm not sure what's going on there.
Very interesting how Ricky's going to handle that. You could make the argument, their salary cap has always been so balanced because they've done such a bloody good job at not paying overs for anyone. So maybe with the new salary cap, they're thinking Sanders is still there to take over and we've got Fogarty as backup if Sanders kills it.
I think, just to your point, I think it's a miracle they don't pay overs for anyone because no one wants to go down there.
Yeah, it's amazing. I keep saying I'm such a fan of what they've achieved down there as a club. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. It's tough. I'm trying to think. Okay, let's imagine this. If Manly offer him $750K each year, do you take it?
Yeah, that's an extra $500,000. I'm taking that for sure.
Yeah, you just have to, don't you?
Yeah.
Especially after tax, man.
And it's not like he's young. He's
paying your manager, so you pay your manager.
That's 6%.
And it might be, their management fee might be 10%.
Yeah.
And then after tax, which is essentially half of it, you're looking at take home, if you're on $500K, $250K.
Yeah.
About, let's just say randomly, which is still frigging heaps of cash, but it's not as all of a sudden a $500K contract gets chopped in half. But if you are on $750K and half of that, you're looking at what are you looking at? 350, 700, 375. Fuck, it's an extra $125K cash. That's an extra $250,000 straight. It's like a whole year extra, really.
Yeah. And this is his last big contract.
Yeah.
So he's never going to sign a contract like this ever again. I'd be taking it for sure.
Do you reckon Manly would offer him $750? I reckon they'd be silly not to. Who else they got on the market?
I reckon he's worth $750 anyway.
I reckon he is too.
So I'd be offering him that, Manly, for sure. I reckon he solves a lot of problems. I know they got forward problems, but God, if he's...
They got more problems.
They got a lot of problems if he's not there next year, or if they don't get a halfback. So,
yeah.
Well, we didn't talk about the hip drop either.
Oh, on the thing
from yesterday.
Yeah, I'm happy with the penalty, maybe a week, but there's no way you look at that and say that's intentional.
Yeah, to be referred, I'm just going to confirm this because I find that really strange. He's been referred straight to the judiciary, which usually is reserved for people that bite people and stuff.
Yeah, I don't get it. Maybe I'm looking at it wrong, but when I watched it, it looked like the impact from the tackle swung him round. He got almost bumped.
Yeah, and I'm happy with a suspension, but to be referred straight to judiciary seems crazy to me.
As I said, maybe 1 or 2 weeks. And look, maybe I'm looking at it wrong, but last night when I watched it, it looked like he lost the contact battle, and that's what made him lose his feet and land poorly. Now, granted, you can say, okay, you just need to be, because the person that he tackled, he's probably going to be out for 3 to 4 weeks now, maybe. So I get it. But I didn't see any intent there.
Yeah, it was
it happened so quickly.
Yeah.
So unless I'm remembering it wrong.
No, I watched it as you were walking in. It's just to get a refresh. It definitely wasn't intentional. Put it that way.
Yeah,
he was knocked out himself.
And that's what I'm not getting. The ones where you can see them grab the hips and swing, literally choose to lose their feet. Those ones are different to getting bumped off your feet and butt holding on, and then that's what swings you around.
And to my knowledge, though, they don't get referred straight to the judiciary either.
Yeah, I don't know.
Very weird. I'd love an explanation, and it's going to be interesting to see how many weeks he gets.
Yeah. The Broncos are reportedly considering Adam Reynolds a 1-year deal worth $250K for 26. Salary cap auditor would need to investigate and clear this. I got to say,
that can't be allowed. That can't be allowed. That's just cheating.
As a Bronco fan, and obviously a passionate Bronco, And see, guys, I'm not always biased. I said this even with the Ben Hunt situation. I think the fact they got him for 550 is not correct. I think it's right. I think Ben Hunt is definitely worth more than 550 right now. Like, definitely worth more than 550. And I think that Adam Reynolds for 200, like, honestly, this is how much more he's worth than that. Right now, if you're going for a premiership next year, and you could pay Lachie Galvin 750K or Adam Reynolds 750K just for 1 year, you'd buy Adam Reynolds. If you're going for a premiership.
Yeah, absolutely you would.
And so, like, to suggest that he's only worth 250, there's no way. That means that they would have Ben Hunt and Adam Reynolds for a total of 800K.
Please.
Meanwhile, Lachie Galvin, well, I'll use Dylan Brown. Dylan Brown's getting paid 1.3 next year.
It's just not right.
Come on, bro.
Like, look, it's just a report, so nothing's been ticked off or anything. But that
they can't approve that.
You can't approve that.
They already got away with it. Look, Ben Hunt. Maybe you could look at him and go, okay, he's aging. So he was on a 900K last year. He's in his last legs, but like. Is Ben Hunt that much better than Adam Reynolds? Like, I know Adam Reynolds not playing Origin. I get that. But, like, as a half, Adam Reynolds and Ben Hunt have led their teams to, Adam Reynolds has led his team to deeper pushes than Benny Hunt. Granted, they're different teams. And I know on stats you could potentially look at, but is Ben Hunt worth, like, what's crazy is if that means that Ben Hunt is essentially worth double Adam Reynolds right now.
Yeah.
Which no way he's worth double.
Not at all. Also, we just spoke about Fogarty. If Broncos can only pay him 250, if Manly can give Fogarty 750, then he's giving Reynolds 750.
At least for 1 year.
For 1 year, for sure.
So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how they're getting that approved. I really don't.
I mean, maybe it's just a swing and a miss. Like,
I think the lowest you could go was 500.
Yeah.
The lowest.
Yeah.
Just because he has had some niggling injuries these last few years.
500 is somewhat digestible, but 250 is outrageous.
Could you imagine if he signs a 1 year big deal somewhere else and Rabbitohs are just sitting there going, we said this bloke was about to retire and he's been going for like 4 years.
My pop still talks about like Ronnie Coote leaving South. I reckon when I'm 80, I'm going to be talking about this because I'm never going to let this go. This is just outrageous. I can't believe he's in his fourth year at the Bronx.
What a poor call. And look, every club's done it. Rabbitohs aren't in a unique situation. Every club's done it. But now when you look at the market of halves and we've got rookies getting paid $1 million to suggest a gun like Reno that led a team essentially every single year to a prelim, you wouldn't give him a 2 year deal. He just wanted a 2 year deal.
So that 2 year deal, the second year would have been 2023 when he took him to the grand final. It's just the more you step back away from it, the more ridiculous it is.
And what's weird as well, like Cody Walker is still at the club, still playing good footy. So you had this hard and fast rule, but Cody Walker is over. Anyway, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, they signed Mark Nichols for 2 years, like a month later or something. Yeah. So it's just
very, very strange. So look, I don't think he'll go to another club, but it's just a matter of like, if you're Adam Reynolds and another club comes to you and says, we'll give you $600K for a year, do you say to the Broncos, listen, because I'm assuming he's going to want to stay in the Broncos system after footy.
Well, there's that. And also, he's got 4 kids. Like, they've settled down they're all in school.
I know, but like...
Surely he doesn't want to move.
600K is a lot of money.
No doubt. But I'm just agreeing that his preference is surely to stay in Brizzy.
But the problem is they just don't have the money. So, like, he's essentially either going to have to quit because, like, no one's approving that. There's no way the NRL approve that.
Yeah.
250K for Adam Reynolds? Come on, bro.
Yeah.
When Fogarty is getting 600K offers? Come on.
Yeah.
The problem Adam faces is that he doesn't want to burn a bridge at the Broncos because I'm assuming he wants to go into coaching there, which is great for the club. Does the club, kind of almost graciously say, look, it didn't get approved. We can't afford more. All right, you go away for a year and then you come back? Because I think even the club would want Adam Reynolds involved with the coaching.
Yeah, of course. I mean, maybe they could just do a dodgy, unofficial, we'll pay you $250 to be a coach next year or something. I don't know.
Which actually, like, paying him $250 to be a coach would not be. I don't think that's overs.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I have no grasp on how much coaches get paid, but
I don't think so. No way. 250K for Adam Reynolds, one of the most experienced best sevens in the competition as a coach. Coaches get paid like minimum, as in head coaches, like anywhere from 600K to like millions.
Yeah.
So for one of the better out sevens, it's 250K. I don't think would be too much. Yeah. Don't forget, guys, codesports.com.au/bloke. Enter the code bloke and you get $49 for the whole year. The link will be in the show notes, but if you don't want to do that, just go to codesports.com.au/bloke and use code bloke. And it is just all sport. There's nothing else. It's no other bullshit. It's all sport, really in-depth stories. You don't have to be bombarded with all this crap and, friggin' stuff you don't even want to see and all these paywalls and that in regards to like individually paywalled stuff. It's just boom, you get your subscription and you've got a mountain worth of content every single week. Best articles you can get. So go to codesports.com.au/bloke. Mate, some of those longer stories, I love.
The big features, yeah.
I love the big features when you can let's say you've got a feed or something and I love when you open it and you just see the chapter's the wrong word, but the paragraph and then the photo and the paragraph of the photo, and you keep scrolling down and you can see that it just goes for ages.
And I like when you're halfway through a really good yarn and you see that the little thing on the side's only halfway down. You're like, I got so much more
good.
of this.
Yeah, and also I love for example, I keep bringing it up, but the Dylan Brown one, the step by step. And then it's got I love when you've just about to finish that paragraph and then the next one says something like, how the Knights stole Brown from the Eels. That's the headline.
Yeah.
And the next one's going to be real juicy.
Yeah.
Mate, the features are... There is something said for the written word that I think interviews can never do. There's something because I love reading books. There's something about the written word that if you get a good journalist that's writing a real feature piece, it's so friggin' good. Especially when you sit down and have a feed or something like that.
Yeah.
Just got plenty of time, no one distracting you, and you're just going, fuck, what a yarn. Don't forget, guys, Good Day and Daylights. Use code DMP for 10% off at begoodhealth.com.au. You can pair it with subscription for 20% off. Mate, what a clash. In 2 hours. All right, we'll finish now so we can get this up, guys. As usual, as I said, Tuesday, 6 p.m, guys. Make sure to be there. The jerseys are dropping. Would really appreciate the support. And as usual, we'll go fuck ourselves.
What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.